Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome to another installment, a very quick and sudden installment of appabend stream. We're in for something so amazing. I don't know, like the moment, like I just came back from college. The moment I saw this on my freaking Twitter feed, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna have lots of fun with this. I'm gonna have tons and tons of fun. I read through the entire thing, and oh my god, I have tons of fun. It's going to be fun. This is going to be lots of fun. The recent era community's feedback on improving the Persona series. It's divided into 3 categories. I gotta give props to Recent Era for actually organizing this in a manner that is very in a freaking long ass 9-gag post of some sort, but gotta give props to them for actually taking the time to organize this. So since they are very passionate about this entire thing, I will be passionate myself as somebody who absolutely loved the Persona series. I am going to be as equally passionate to criticize your criticisms because they are pretty they're not great. Let's just say it's a bit of a mixed bag. At one side, it's not really great. At the other side, very petty criticisms. But we're gonna get to those criticisms right away. And so chat, how are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing very well. I'm certainly doing very well right now because I can't wait. I can't wait. This is so delicious. So freaking delicious. It is so delicious. We're gonna get to this. We're gonna do this, fam. Oh, this is delicious. Anyway, so how are you guys doing? Fix Persona. I didn't know it was broken. Thank you for playing the Persona 3 portable soundtrack. Where you at, my father? I got in sub feed. There is no need to go to the YouTube front page of YouTube when you have a YouTube account ever. A comment for your last video, the Bully Hunter website is down. That is indeed a very interesting piece of news. At the moment, we have 97 people watching in because, wow, all those 97 of you, we're in for some delicious, delicious cringe. Some cringe, but otherwise, there are some legitimate critiques regarding Persona series, but a lot of times it's very cringy. And I do think that if you guys absolutely love Persona, I would love to share some of the critiques being put into the place, because certainly some of the critiques here, I do want to have a bit of discussion with you guys, whether or not it's actually valid or that it's actually pretty good. So anyway, please notice me, senpai. I am good, my dude. Persona machine broke. Why so late at night? Yeah, for all of you who are in the Eastern time, yes, it's very obviously late at night, but not for me. It's 11 p.m. It's 11 a.m. Here in it's very almost to the noon. But for those of you who are in the Pacific time, it should be around 8 o'clock at this very moment. It should be around 8 o'clock. Yep, around 8 or to half 9. So you all probably will be served with some cringe. Gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Why shonen is good? The game is aimed at teenagers. Of course, it's shonen. Went to an adult store and made a great conversation with the clerk. She is very nice. How will you fix Persona? Well, there are so many things that I would do to fix Persona. If you guys give me a minute. Whoa! Forgot to turn in the freaking air conditioner in there. It's only 10:24. Okay, 10:24. So it's not too late, but still. You following Darling in the Franxx? No. I know the characters, but I don't follow the anime. It's 9:24. Some people. Let's see here. Let's get to. I just came for Persona after all. Saw this title. I'm interested. Well, who wouldn't be? It's freaking Persona. We're gonna talk about Persona. How to fix it, apparently, because Recent Era has some very interesting critiques in how to fix them. Well, I certainly do have critiques in how to fix them as well, but not as interesting as Recent Era, but it's 5:25 to some people. Nigga, it's 11 o'clock here. Go to sleep. But if it's your life, fam. You can either watch the stream or go to sleep. But it's not my fault. if you missed it. There's only one way to fix Persona. More Yuri. Very certainly interesting critique in there. A Persona game to focus on horror rather than the slice of life aspect. Yeah, it's called Shin Megami Tensei. My favorite Persona characters: Nightquill, Kanji 2.0, Angry, and Hola Black Girl. 10:25 p.m. here, and I got crap to do in the morning. Oh, that's too bad. Stream is much better than sleep. Aha. It's Persona. Fuck the timeline. You can never have too much Yuri. I'm playing Persona 5 right now. Tear the game to shreds. Oh, yes. We will. No spoilers, thankfully. Reset Era are not assholes. Most of the time. Sometime. Very little of the time. But they're not assholes in terms of spoilers. They won't spoil this entire thing, so at least they're good. I know how to fix it. Make a PC port so anyone would play it, and don't make an anime adaptation. Well, I certainly have. I was planning to do like a freaking stream every late night. I'm gonna do a stream with my brother talking about the anime. It would be pretty fun just talking about the episodes, because we both are in the agreement that we didn't like the last 2 episodes of the Persona 5 animation. We didn't really like it. The second episode is slightly better, but overall we just there are some really interesting, nice changes, twists in the formula, but overall it's I don't have school tomorrow. That's pretty good. Best way to fix it is crossover with Shin Megami Tensei. What do you mean? It's already a freaking Shin Megami Tensei property. So, have you heard of recent anime offerings? Pop Team Epic, Mahou Shoujo Site, etc. Pop Team Epic, I haven't finished it. Not really interested. I can't wait for those darn freaking hot takes, appabend. We're gonna get to some of the hot takes. What was it? We're 8 minutes in. At least from what I've seen in OBS, we're 8 minutes in. We're gonna get to it in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Did you catch the Kumite with Ross at all? I catch everything with Ross. It is such a delicious drama. Like I don't want to wait. I don't want to miss anything about Ross, because it is such a fucked up drama. Like I was just following from like day one. I watched the entire freaking stream, like the very first stream where Mr. Medico was with Ross. The very first time they interacted with each other, the first time he asked, "What are you doing looking at pictures of kids in a bathtub?" I watched that entire freaking stream. So much cringe, so much drama. It's fucked up, but holy shit, I was grabbing popcorn to the entire thing. So of course I'm following it. One way to fix it is to give more character development. We'll get to that. It's a bit vague on the criticisms and what kind of character development you want, but we're gonna get to that. What do you think of Steins Gate? Do you watch it? I watched Steins Gate. I like it. I need to rewatch it though, because it's been a long time since I watched it. Maybe after rewatching it, I find more criticisms regarding the anime. But I watched Steins Gate. I remember loving it, but as time went on, I guess it's probably it's not gonna be like I probably won't like it as much as when I first time watched it. But well, we'll see. Anyway. Hey up, I'm gonna do a part 2 for the channel Awesome Drama. The part 2 for the channel Awesome Drama involving the revelation that it turns out that it was Juwario who was the predator all along. And making a video on that is way too fucking depressing. It is so depressing that I decided not to make a video on it. Like, not at all. Like, I would love to do a response. I made a response, then the news popped up and I was like, holy shit. Like, it's one of the videos where I canceled. I just straight up canceled the video after that. I finished Persona 4, almost done with Persona 5. Should I play Persona 3? You absolutely should if you want to know the story. All the main games are great. The spin-offs, not so much. The answer from Persona 3 is also pretty shit. So get the portable one. The main story is pretty good. The answer is shit. Anyway, I think we've wasted a long time enough. We'll get to the complaints. So Reset Era, please bring us your complaints in how to improve the Persona series. Hope you guys can read this. The text is a little small, so you know what? I'm just gonna cut it. I'm just gonna cut it in half. Yeah, that should do it. That should do it. Hopefully, I'm gonna cut this in half. Just to make sure that the text is readable, because it's certainly not at this state. Give me a minute here. Shouldn't take long. Right. All right. We should be good. Now I'm just going to arrange just a little bit here and there. And we get to the complaints. Now, are you ready? I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are ready for this, because we're in for some very serious things. Have you played Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE? No, I haven't. I don't have a Wii U. Not interested to get a Wii U, and not interested in Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. Nor am I interested in Fire Emblem. Who's the one criticizing? That's a very good question. Come on, appabend. He's a pedophile, not a child rapist. He said it himself. Yeah, that makes it okay. That makes it okay. So anyway, could you add link in the description of the Reset Era post or an archive link? I posted it on my Twitter. So if you want to check it out, it should be on my Twitter. But it is a good idea, though. I should have posted it on my description. It's not a very good quality, though. Its quality is pretty shit. But regardless, but at least you can read. It's a little bit blurry, but you can read it. Give me a minute. Okay, so I have already updated the description with the link to my Twitter, so you can actually read it yourself. And now, let's get to it. So the first one is regarding general complaints about story characters and pacing. It starts off very simple. It's basically a freaking 9-gag sort of post. Like, it's straight up from what it's very top to bottom. So it is intended for mobile. So you scroll down from one page to the other. But since this is not a scrolling format sort of page, we're going to have to deal with... I wish I could just convert this to PDF or something like that. But anyway, so here's the first part here. The general story characters and pacing. This is the first complaint that needs to be addressed. Let's get to some of the chats here before that. Why are there so many pedos in the world? Do you think the Phantom Thief should steal the hearts of the Reset Era writers? I can already tell I'm gonna hate this. Well, I'll leave that their opinions to you. But still, let's get to the very first complaint. We're gonna start from the left all the way to the right. Left, right, left, right, left, right. We're gonna do that sort of thing, going back and forth. Let's begin. An option to choose general story characters and pacing, improving the Persona series. If you guys missed it, we're going to ask how to improve the Persona series. The first one is an option to choose between a male or female character as the main protagonist. Persona 3 Portable exists. You can play as Minako Arisato. At least I watched the name. I want the name to be Minako Arisato. I don't know the actual name. The actual name for the character, but my canon name for her is Minako Arisato, and the canon name for the male protagonist for me is Minato Arisato. Makoto Yuki can go fuck itself. Don't shy away from actually tackling the themes you bring up. What do you mean? Elaborate please on this specific point, because I don't understand what you mean. Don't shy away from actually tackling the themes you bring up. In what way? I know it's freaking bullet point, but the bullet point itself is confusing. Don't shy away from actually tackling the themes you bring up. Like what? Like, I'm very sure that every Persona game have tackled a lot of themes, and they're enough to tackle them. I'm not sure which themes you're referring to. It's a very vague point, so we're gonna move on from this. Consider an adult cast in a workplace or college setting. Well, Persona does have adults, but it's very obviously going to be centered on teenagers. Now, the reason why Persona takes place in a teenager sort of environment, the reason why it takes place in high school, is because it is a very relatable place, very relatable setting for people in Japan. It's very relatable for people in there, and it just so happened to be relatable to pretty much everyone else. High school is a very relatable place. It's a very fun, very enjoyable, very... high school is fun, and at least the way Japan does high school. It's always going to be fun. But doing it in an adult cast in a workplace, it's not going to be as fun. One, it's not going to be as fun. And two, let's just say you set Persona in which the protagonist is a construction worker. it just doesn't work. It doesn't work because as an adult, you're going to spend a lot more time working. And if you spend a lot more time working, you're not going to have time to actually go out there and save the world. And as an adult, if you are an adult in Persona, you're not going to be as relatable. An adult protagonist is not going to be as relatable as a teenage protagonist, because an adult, when you're an adult, you're basically already sort of mature, you're already learning. But as a teenager, when you mature as a teenager, you learn the hardships of life. It is much more satisfying because we see the teenager grows up to be a more mature character. But if you're an adult, they already freaking adults. They already grow up. So it doesn't actually work. A college setting, on the other hand, that might work. That might work. Because you're taking place, because in college, and you're gonna have tons and tons of free time in college. Not as free, probably not as free as, okay, a lot more free than high school, but you're gonna have a lot more free time in college. So Saturday and Sunday is not going to be used at all. You're gonna have lots of free time in there. So yeah, it could work. Workplace, I don't think so, but college, possibly. You won't have a time to date or do shit. Persona 2 Eternal Punishment has a mostly adult cast except for one teen. Persona 2's who is you use the freaking reporter chick. Who's her name? Who is her name? You use the reporter chick, and yeah, you use her as an adult, but the story of Maya, there you go, Maya. You use Maya in Persona 2, but the story of Persona 2 overall is it's laughably bad. I don't think it's gonna work. Expand the soundtrack in the game beyond selling outfits with background musics. Now, this I actually agree, because I would love to see more customizations on the background music. For example, the battle, I want to see the battle theme, like they change back and forth between the Persona 5 Last Surprise to Persona 4 Reach Out to the Truth to Persona 3's battle fight, because Persona 3 has really good fight music, battle music. So maybe an option to switch between all of those three would be nice. So expand the soundtrack in the game. I'm not sure what you mean is expand, but I do really want to see more soundtracks, customization to get the Persona soundtracks from other Persona games in there somewhere. But customization options such as hairstyle, outfits, etc. for protagonists, I don't think this is possible, because Persona has always been, like, the protagonist's look has always been defined. It's very much staple in JRPGs in general. Like, in every JRPG that I've played so far, you can't exactly modify their protagonist's looks. Okay, with the exception of some skins, but it's not as extensive as, say, you know, Skyrim, where you can just modify their face to whatever degree. But there is a reason why the protagonist has like a default outfit, the default hairstyle, a default outfit. It's because to set up, this is the character. Which is why I find it odd when Persona dives back and forth between whether or not the protagonist is customizable or whether or not the protagonist is not customizable. Whether or not the protagonist depends entirely on your player choice, or whether or not the protagonist is set up. It's a bit odd. Adult Persona users could work if they had a regular 9-to-5 job, but those aren't the norm in Japan. Exactly. Persona 2's history is actually good. Nah. You explore the freaking childhood, the traumas of the traumatic issues of childhood while battling Space Hitler from outer space. Inconsistency sounds fucking awesome, but it's not exactly what I would call consistent on the tone. Anyway, what else we have here? More diverse range of personas. As if Persona doesn't have enough, aren't diverse enough? As if personas are not diverse enough? That's... Do not block share function on PS4. Quick question: who uses the share function in PS4? I don't. I've never used it. Not once. Maybe because my PS4 is not connected to the freaking internet. But I never actually use it. I never actually know what it's used for. Do not block share function PS4. Do you guys actually use it? Just a quick question. Do you guys... has anybody actually used that function? Like, I always think of this as the select button. Like, this is the I always think of this is the share button. This is the select button. I always think of this as the select button. It's the start button on options button right now. It's not start select. That's always my mindset. It's a start, select, or start back. It's never options and share. Just weird. Like, who uses the share function? Make personas more interesting as demons/characters. Well, they're not even that interesting in SMT to begin with. Like they don't really have that much of a personality. So there needs to be a point on this one. Like make personas more interesting. Okay. Pixie, the only persona or demon that has a more personality that has actually developed for me, at least in Nocturne, was Pixie. Pixie has an actual character in there. You know her freaking struggle by the time you get her at first, and then subsequently you grow her up to become High Pixie. To become, was it Queen Mob? I forgot how to the final form, but it's like level 50, so you have to enhance your like High Pixie to like very, very up there. But this needs to be like, make personas more interesting as demons or characters. Yeah, there needs to be a reason for that. So I forgot what the share button does. Well, what's your favorite persona and why? Persona 4. The story is much better. The story has a focus. The characters are well developed. I would say it has a lot more focus, and I like the villains, not the obviously villain. I like the idea that you are the villain. I like the idea that the self is the villain. It's the fact that the self is actually a much bigger monster than, you know, other else people. It's much better executed than the other two games. Or the other 4 games. Anyway, give the last party member more briefing room and time to develop after introducing them. Unlike Haru in Persona 5. What are you talking about? Haru in Persona 5 is, if you can spend a lot more time with her. You have the choice to spend a lot more time with her. It's possible. It's very much possible. Like you can romance her, for fuck's sake. Like it's very late in the game, very last minute edge, but it's possible to romance her. It's possible to romance Naoto, in the last minute, but still, anyway. Add optional characters or S-links to the game in New Game Plus. Not a good idea. Unfortunately, ever since Trails, I don't like the idea of additional story content in New Game Plus. It just doesn't make sense for me. Like, why would certain story elements appear only at New Game Plus? It just doesn't, like, I want to like expand the story a lot more. I want to know the characters more, and just playing for New Game Plus just to milk the story out is better treatment of LGBTQ characters. Don't make offensive jokes about LGBTQ community. When has Persona ever did this? Can anybody explain to me when has Persona ever did this? I can't recall the last time Persona did. Okay, Persona 5, the one part that I can think of was those what do you call it, transvestites that's hunting Ryuji. Like, wasn't even part of the main story. They were just there as freaking jokes. I think that's what they're referring to. You shouldn't joke about these sorts of people, these LGBT people. Okay, first question is, are you those people? No, then why are you offended? Second, these transvestites that, you know, come into boys and like they pretend to be girls and they like seduce boys and nothing like that. They exist. It's actually pretty common in Asia, especially Thailand. very common in Thailand. It exists. It exists in Japan. It exists here in Indonesia. It exists in Thailand. It exists in pretty much every part of Asia. So it exists. So it's and they're not meant as an insult. They're there to do whatever they're doing. I don't know specifically why they're doing it. I don't know why they dress up as women and try to seduce boys. I don't know exactly why, but that's what they did. They exist. I personally don't understand the motivation, but they exist. And they're not meant as a freaking insult to LGBT people. Like, not at all. Anyway, more believable and mature villains with relatable motivations. Okay, there is a difference between more believable. Okay, where is okay? Persona 5. My criticism with the villains on Persona 5 is that they are bad. They are bad in a sense that they are cartoonishly bad. They are cartoonishly evil. Like they will. There's no good in them. Like there's no sense of you can't see any good within the villains. This is why I really don't like Persona 5, because the Persona in general has always been very weak with the villain. For fuck's sake, the second game uses Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, because they I don't know, they got freaking, they have zero idea of villains. But this is why I like Persona 4. The Persona 4, the villain is you. You are the villain. You are the self is the villain. The shadow is the villain. You are ultimately the biggest enemy in the room is you. You are the one you need to overcome the obstacles to yourself. You are your own obstacle. That idea is intriguing. A lot more interesting than, well, here's a big bad guy. Here's a very big bad guy. And you have to rebel to the big bad guy, which, again, I know it's the theme of Persona 5. The theme of Persona 5 is rebelling against the big evil authorities, but it's just not, when the big evil authorities are so big, cartoonishly evil, I just don't really buy them. And to say that more believable, yeah, I would agree. Mature villains with relatable motivations. But then again, they did it. It's kind of explained that most of the villains are like corrupted by the big demons, the big freaking demons in Yalbadot. How do you pronounce it? Like in Persona 5, all the villains are like consumed with this really big evil entity. So perhaps there is an explanation. Weak 1 still doesn't make the villain any less stupid or cartoonish, but well, there is an explanation. Oh, has anybody not played Persona 4? Because there are people in the chat spoiling Persona 4 in there. Actually, Persona 5 as well. But a better localization overall. I have already talked about this. The complaints of the localizations are very petty. It comes off very malicious. And I've already talked about this last year in another video, where I addressed that a lot of the localization changes and motivations are very biased and very petty. Not very good criticisms. Overall, the localization is pretty good. No more awkwardly structured sentence. Elaborate, please, and use of honorifics in the dub. Again, it's very much explained in another video that I did, so I gotta go to bed. Good night, guys. Well, good night. Tone down that excessive hand-holding and forced to sleep days. Well, this is a critique specifically to Persona 5. I partially agree, because I find the scenes where you are forced to sleep kind of annoying as well. But then again, that's why you need to, Kawakami, you need to finish her freaking social link, where you can pretty much do anything. You go to Mementos, finish Kawakami's social link, and then go up to level 10, and Rich, you can get a massage from her. And then after that, you can pretty much do anything else in the night. But what baffles me is I can't have someone else do it. They should be a freaking massage parlor somewhere in Tokyo where I can just, you know, just pay up the service. I have lots of money. I have tons of money. I can pay up for service and then just massage me so that I can do more activities in the night. I don't know, just an idea. Give the players some breathing room during the final stages of the game. Persona 5 had too many back-to-back dungeons. I have no idea what you're talking about in there. Post-game extra contents that you can play after the last boss. Cut the repetitive dialogues. What repetitive dialogues? Give me example. Keep the party members relevant to the story after their respective arc all the way to the end. What? they are all relevant to the story. They contribute in the story. They're not as important as the arcs, definitely, but they contribute to the story. They contribute ideas. They contribute, like, they could, all of them, they work out as a team. If they're, they don't have a personal stake. They don't have a personal story as their respective arc, but all of them contribute to the story. It depends on which, it depends on the characters that you're talking about. Tone down on having perfect party members. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. I'll take hand holding over hand breaking any day of the week. You should go to sleep. Tone down and having perfect party members, not gonna happen. I'm sorry, that's just not gonna happen. Experiment with new elements such as roguelike features in the randomly generated side dungeons. Like what? Like what roguelike features? Like what? Like roguelike, as far as I know, in roguelikes, you basically keep on, you don't save your progress, basically, when you die. What kind of roguelike feature that you're... More substantial inter-party relationships like in Persona 3 Portable. Like... What? Like what? Like more substantial inter-party relationship, like what? I don't know what you're talking about. What's... Explain. This is just a bullet point. It needs some elaborate on this, please. A shortcut option. I'm sorry, what? A shortcut option with its own rewards and challenges for dungeons. As in a skip dungeon option that is a lot more challenge. I don't get you. You need to elaborate on this. What are you talking about with this? An alternative way to access S-links that are locked behind social stats. Not gonna happen. Certainly not gonna happen. A lot of social links are meant to be accessed depending on your social stats. That's not gonna happen at all. More meaningful player choices that result in branching storylines with their own endings. Also not going to happen. Every Persona game that I have played, the story is pretty much the same. There's no branching. There are multiple endings, certainly, but it doesn't branch out for a good reason, because if it does branch out, then it's gonna take a lot more development time. It has a lot more time. Every JRPG that I played, the story has always been pretty linear. The decisions that you made, it's not a freaking Telltale game, which is quite ironic in some ways, because to suggest that Telltale has more decisions, more impacted decisions, but at least Telltale focus on them. Persona is more focused on telling a specific story and a linear story. So a meaningful player choice, I can't exactly think. Like, for example, if I just like if you shout to Kamoshida at one point in the story, he will get more angry at you. Like, there needs to be clarifications. That list is making me cringe. Okay, customization, player choice, no perks, etc. They want to turn JRPG to Western RPG. Christ. We have ultimate personas. What the fuck? Did we play the same game? No, what they are referring to here, on this one, which one is it? On the ultimate persona part, what they are referring to is have ultimate persona unlocked by playing through the story, like in Persona 3. Like in Persona 3, when you play through the story, they will unlock the ultimate persona for the characters as you progress the story. You don't have to spend the social links all the way to level 10 to get the ultimate persona, which is what they do in Persona 4 and Persona 5. If you want to unlock their ultimate persona, you have to max out their social link. But the way they did it in Persona 3, a bit dodgy for me, because in Persona 4 and Persona 5, every character has some sort of an arc. And the social links are just there to add more to the arc. It's just that it's a bit weird that they add the ultimate persona. I just don't like... I there are some good ideas having the ultimate persona in as a part of the story. I just think that it would make the social links a bit more optional, not required necessary, which social links are optional in the first place. It just doesn't make them feel as satisfying. So anyway. Jesus Christ, how long is this list? This list is pretty freaking long, fam. We're just 30 minutes in. We're gonna be in it for like another hour. So if you just come in, let's do this. If you just came in, Persona 4 is much better than Persona 5. Persona 5 is much better than Persona 3. Fight me. All right. So what else we have here? An option to skip dungeons in New Game Plus. I'm sorry, what? An option to skip dungeons in New Game Plus. The point of a New Game Plus is to carry over the stats that you have in the previous new game, previous game, and become a lot stronger, so that you can feel that you are powerful when you crush down the enemy. Weird suggestion. Moving on. Categorize the item menu into different sections for better navigation. They already did that. They already did that. Make the main character more expressive. Either have a voice main character with their own personality, or keep the silent but make the dialogue choices much more meaningful. I, for one, actually agree. I actually agree. Like, it is there, the impact between the main character of Trails and the main character of Persona is so noticeable. Like in Trails, the main character is voice. He has his own personality. We don't really necessarily choose a lot of the options, but he does have a choice. He does have a personality, and it's so much better. So much better, especially with the fact that the relationship feels a lot more dynamic. So when one character have an issue with Rin from Trails of Cold Steel, Rin will also have issue with that character. The relationship feels a lot more dynamic. But in Persona, well, all the characters are silent. So yeah, good suggestion. I would love to see this. I would love to see this more. I would love to see a character that is more expressive. Like, even in the freaking anime, for fuck's sake, even in the anime, just 2 episodes in, and the protagonist barely said a word. The protagonist barely said anything, which is disappointing. I'm looking forward for more protagonists to interact more, to talk more, but I don't get it. Voice main character seems like a bad choice for Persona. I personally think it's a good choice, because so far it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make the protagonist. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel adequate for me. It just maybe experiment it once in another Persona game, but I don't know. I think it might work. Still, a shorter tutorial, or at least a partially optional one. Well, pretty much the first 5 hours of the game is tutorial, so I guess a shorter tutorial or a partially option, like they would at least give an option to like in Persona 5, you have to get to the tutorial to just introduce the freaking gun. You have to introduce how to the weakness points and everything like that. Yeah, maybe they can make it optional, or maybe just turn off his, hey, you want to go to the tutorial again? No, just no. Make the dungeon areas wider or running controls tighter. Running around in dungeons feel too imprecise and cramped. I actually want to criticize the cover system a lot more in Persona 5, because regardless of where you take your cover, you are basically invisible. Like, you take a cover right next to the enemy, right next to his cone of visibility, as long as you take cover, you are basically invisible. That can be a bit broken. The cover system overall is pretty freaking broken. So, what would be arguably Ren could not be very expressive considering what happened with him. I don't think so. I think he should be, like, he's very expressive in the, like, when he's talking in the narrative. Like, for God's sake, Persona is Persona 5 is the first time in the series where the freaking the prompts, the narrations, the freaking game menu, it's in first person. In the other games, in Persona 4 and Persona 3, it's in second person. So it's you. In Persona 4, it makes a lot more. It's a very, very insane freaking pun. You. But in Persona 3, yeah. Basically, in Persona, in the menus, they refer to the character as you. You do this. You find this. But in Persona 5, it refers to as I. I got this. I should do this. I should do this. The text in the bottom, or the narration text, there is clearly a narration. It feels a lot more personal. Not much personality, but it could work. Damn, where was I? A toggle option for certain abilities gained by S-Link. I actually agree. I actually really agree. But it's only just for one Ryuji's freaking social link that ends at level 7 that makes you to instantly kill all the enemies if they are below your level, which is insane. I don't want that ability. I don't want that ability. Can I remove this ability? Can I manually fight the enemy so that I can gain XP? By the way, if you instantly kill the enemy, you only reduce the freaking guard, but you don't get XP. You don't get XP, you don't get money, you don't get item, you just instantly kill them. I need an option to turn that off. Otherwise, I have to leave Ryuji's social link to the very end. Like, his social link is going to be like the final social link that I have to do before the boss in the very end. Otherwise, I can't grind. Otherwise, I couldn't get XP. An option to turn that off would be very nice. But it's only one. Only one certain ability, one ability from the social link. The rest are perfectly fine. If not, a bit arbitrary. Like, how the explain to me the logic of having to unlock Hifumi's social link in order to swap party members in mid-battle. You guys, so it happens when let's just say you have a party of 5, like in the Futaba's freaking, in Futaba, for example. Actually, no, yeah, let's just say in Futaba's freaking dungeon, for example, in the pyramid level, you want to switch to Makoto. You want to switch, you start off with your party with, you have Ren, you have An, you have Makoto, you have Ryuji. So you can only bring in 4 party members. The rest are staying outside for some reason, even though in the cutscenes, it's very glaringly obvious that all of them get into the pyramid. So why can't we switch? Why can't we switch? We can't switch not in mid. We can switch outside of battle, but we cannot switch in battle. We can switch outside of battle, but we can not switch in battle. It's stupid. It's very basic. It's a very basic feature. I don't know why. Why do you have to unlock the ability to swap party member when all the party members are already in the freaking battle? Weird, bizarre, stupid. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Like, Persona 5, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Like, don't get me wrong, Hifumi's social link is pretty good, but the fact that you have to unlock the ability to swap party member mid-battle, which is something that even Trails lets you do. Even Trails lets you do that in the middle of the battle, anytime, anywhere, anytime you want, any character. Fucking stupid. Yeah, I agree, for once. So, story-based character development and ultimate personas like Persona 3. We already discussed this. I have a mixed feeling on using the ultimate persona, unlocking the ultimate personas in the main story, but more unique dialogue, dungeon dialogues. Yeah, the negotiation part. I rarely negotiate with the demons. I never, in fact, I never, almost never. I just fuse them. Like, oh, thank you so much for the donation. Radio Console, too. Thank you so much for the donation. I need to get I need to get Twitch. I need to get freaking Streamlabs open in the background. I didn't expect people to donate, but still, thank you so much for the donation. We have finished that's part 1. We have finished part 1 out of 3 for this entire freaking oh, I missed one. I missed one before we move on. I missed one right here. Experiment with a game structure that is not so tight with calendar. Do X by date Y is getting a tad stale. I'm not exactly the sort of person who will advocate, who will went to the teachers and say, you know what, midterms should be at December or something. Yeah. Anyway, what else do you have here? Let's get to the chat here for a bit. What are your complaints here, chat? Hey everyone, how's getting the trophy for the dungeon talk? 1 out of 3. Yes, 1 out of 3. We're in for some wild ride, fam. But before we get to the next part, we'll get to the chat here. Hopefully, the chat always brings some sanity. Most of the time, brings sanity to the entire thing. But oh boy, that's part 1 out of 3 of the complaints. And don't get me wrong, some of them are pretty good, but a lot of them are not. A lot of them are pretty. They're just not. So anyway. Chat, get it to tweak this one here before we let's see. Okay, so gonna read the donation first here. Radio console, how about the real change we need in Persona 5? The ability to kick Morgana into galactic orbit and allowing me to sleep when I want. I want as much free time as Persona 3 protagonist. Oh, certainly fab. Anyway, chat. What are you guys up to? The viewers apparently 163. Man, thank you so much for sticking in. Late night is apparently a very good time to stream. You played SMT Apocalypse. I don't have a 3DS, so I can't really play SMT Apocalypse. Or I really want to play the Fire Emblem games, but please don't bully Best Cat. Call up the bully hunters. All of these Morgana freaking bullies. Let Ryuji say fuck. Exactly, that is a thing that I want to see too. Also, let Lara Croft say cunt. Were those suggestion improvements for upgraded Persona 5? Persona 5 is trying to be Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, in most JRPGs, you can't even change your party members inside a dungeon. They absolutely fucking should have. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. Like, in how the fuck can you explain to me why doesn't okay, limited party members, I can accept that. You can't, the fact that you can't change party members mid-battle is a lot of BS, because in every Persona game, you come with all of the party members to the battlefield, not just 4. And it just I'm gonna listen to this while playing PSO2. So Ryuji is the odd-eyes rebellion dragon. Ryuji is still best waifu. Fucking Ryuji, I hate his social link for that. Yes, I fucking hate that. Akira is a much better name than Ren. I wholeheartedly agree, but worse than being invisible, the random hopping from cover to cover when you mean to ambush. Yeah. I sold my PS2, however, I did beat Shin Megami Tensei 4. Fallout 4's voice PC was an awful idea. No to Persona getting that. That's because Fallout 4's story in general is terrible. Fallout 4's story in general is bad. Again, I can see how this is much good. Like, if you do it well, it would work. But it's clearly that Fallout 4's story is just not that good. It's just not. But the way they did the voice protagonist in Fallout 4, actually there are actually 2 problems with that. One, the story wasn't that great. 2, and here's the big one: the dialogues that you choose are very Mass Effect in that they don't actually show the full text of the dialogue, unless of course you mod the game, which shows the full text of the dialogue. So for example, you choose one part of dialogue. You choose dialogue 1, dialogue 2, dialogue 3, dialogue 4. Depends on what you choose. You know what you will say in the end. But they have to resort to this very simplified Mass Effect-ish dialogue option, which is stupid. Let's see here. The only time I have ever seen a good character development when a character is quiet is Fulm 4 Cinder, then Fulm 5 ruined her when she talked. Oh, another bad example of a character that was used to be silent and then have a voice is Samus from Metroid. Yeah. Not a good idea to ever talk. But again, a lot of that can be attributed to the bad writing of Other Wham. Holy shit, bad writing. John Burke said 123 donated $7. Thank you so much. Just want to say I wish Haru was in the game more than the last quarter of the game. Also, when I went for the plat, I missed out of filling the compendium because I missed the last treasure persona at endgame dungeon without going back to the mementos. Brr, that sucks. I'm not only seeking for trophies though in the Persona games. I just play them. I mostly don't care on the freaking treasure personas. I just don't care for most of them. Unfortunately, Morrowind looks like shit. Okay, that's a fair one. Persona 2 is better than Persona 4. Persona 4 is better than Persona 5. Persona 5 is better than Persona 1. Persona 1 is better than Persona 3. Well, that's a hot take that I've ever seen one. They want the games to be easy. I like 3, 4, 5 equally. Fight me. Where are you reading this from? Well, again, you can just look at the thumbnail. I am reading this from Reset Era Community's complaints regarding Persona. Oh, thank you so much for the donation again, Radio Console. Take more money. I am high. We're having Persona 5 discussion. Great vibes. Well, this is one of very few streams where the stream chat, where the super chat comes in high. But if you can't get the super chat, well, you're gonna have more chance of having your chat read every part. Branching storylines cause more problems than it solves. Exactly. Do you think a social link revolving around your girlfriend would be a good thing? I always feel that you don't get interact with them enough. Yeah, that's also one of the big complaints here. You get a girlfriend, sure, done. Like, one thing that I fucking hate in New Game Plus in Persona 5. So, since you got all your stats maxed, you can pretty much date Makoto before you get to Futaba's actual dungeon. You can date her and you can declare that you love her before her actual freaking dungeon. But at that moment where Makoto is hugging Ren when they're in Futaba's house, by the time the light's out, and then Sojiro came into the house and find out the two are hugging each other. And then by the time Sojiro asks, "Are you two dating?" and she's like, "No, we're not. We're just friends." Bitch! I fucking asked you last week, bitch! What the fuck are you talking about? I fucking asked you last week. You're just gonna fucking do this loyal fucking bitch. I'm sorry. Fucking fought. Anyway. There's this loyal fucking bitch Makoto. Hifumi's better. Anyway, I think we're done with the chat here, but still. Isn't she still in middle school? Who, Makoto? Makoto is in high school. She's the third year, for God's sake. Hifumi. No, Hifumi is also high school. Anyway. Here's the second part. Get ready, guys. Get ready. Here's the second part. You want to get bye Appa. Oh, that's sad. I want more people to join in because this is some delicious cringe. Social links elements, the confidence, social simulation elements. More consequences for your S-link choices that would affect the main story as well as other S-links. Good idea. I want to see it implemented. More activities to do with your S-links. For instance, having the ability to invite more than one person to go on a movie with you. Could work. That could work. That could work. In a lot of ways that could work. But I want to see the execution though. I want to see elaborate this idea more. How would you implement this in, let's just say Persona 5 is the template. How would you implement that idea in this template that I give to you? So, option to romance S-links that have the same gender as main character. Jesus Christ, I fucking smashed this to the lost his freaking center. No, not a freaking chance. It's not going to happen. It's less that I don't want it, because I do want it. Like, hey, would be nice to have a main character in Persona that is freaking gay. It's just that it's not going to happen. I don't think it will happen. I don't think Atlas... The culture in Japan is very vastly different compared to ours. It's a lot, definitely a hell of a lot more conservative, if you can believe that. A hell of a lot more conservative than America's culture, than the Western culture in general. So, I don't think... While Japan does have a lot of its shares of yaois and very popular media regarding yaois, I just don't think this would happen in the future. So anyway, but it is nice though. It would be nice. It's cool. It's cool. It would be nice, but I don't think it would happen, and I don't think it would be done well. That's also key. That's also another key part. I don't think it will be done well. I think it would be done terribly. How about just make them friends? Just make them friends, and I would rather have a great friendship arc than a bad romance arc. Just me. At least Japan is more conservative in terms of sexuality, but in terms of hentai, well... Anyway, reduce the number of S-links that advance automatically with no player input. I actually agree on this one, because you don't really have too much control. I really hate the fact that I have to wait for Akechi's freaking social link to finish so that I can fuse a persona that is required for to get, you know, 100% compendium. But allow S-links to intertwine with each other, resulting in unique relationship between S-link characters. That already happens. That happens. It happens in both Persona 4 and Persona 5, actually. It happens in both games. It happens in both games. In Persona 4, for example, there is a social link where Chie and Ko and Daisuke, they meet with each other. They somehow stumble, they meet with each other in the mall. And then basically at that time, the social links for all of them, they grow up. In Persona 5, there was a time where Mishima meets up with Yusuke. Where it's a very hilarious scene where Mishima said, well, I know this very weirdo guy. This guy's a freaking just outright weirdo, very eccentric. I want to know who he is. Like he's always around here somewhere. And then Yusuke pops up and I was like, fucking holy shit, that is the funniest thing ever. And then right after that, Mishima, and then after Yusuke goes to the protagonist like, oh, hey, how are you doing? How are you? I hope you are doing well. And then Mishima's like, oh wait, you know this guy? Yeah, I know this guy. Okay. This is an awkward moment like that. That happens. That happens. Characters intertwine. That happens. It happens a lot more in Persona. It happens in Persona 4, but it happens a lot more in Persona 5. The one, my favorite one is when Ryuji, when Akira or Ren, whatever, whoever. Ren is fishing with Ryuji, and then Kawakami comes in. And then by the time they have a dialogue, and then Kawakami is like, it's Miss Kawakami to you. And then Akira is like, well, how about you call her, basically something along the lines of, well, how about you call her Master? And then she's very obviously blushing. And I was like, yeah, enough. Shut it up, both of you. I was like, I can't describe the scene. It's fucking hilarious. But point is, it does happen. It does happen. Characters intertwine. Some social links happen. Makoto at one time, there was a time where Makoto crosses with Hifumi, and they basically talk to each other so much to the point where Ren is completely ignored. What else? What else? There was also Mishima. Oh shit! Did I confuse Mishima with Makoto? I'm so sorry. Did I confuse Mishima with Makoto? I am so sorry. By the way, another super chat. Sorry, quick question. I'm curious, does Hifumi feel like she was supposed to be a phantom thief? Yes! It's confirmed. She is supposed to be a phantom thief. But it's actually, she's not. So, that's pretty sad. Let me dead Saya, goddammit. Here's some surprise with that Ryuji Kigurumi scene. It was on Ryuji's birthday. Wow, that's actually quite surprising. Let's get to I want more money hack, easier money hacks. Play the game on the safety difficulty, fam. I played the game. I got like 5 times more money than necessary. but still though, I appreciate the addition of the safety difficulty, so plebs like me can get through it and laugh as others struggle and pain and suffering. Anyway, but strangely enough, even the pros said that the Carolina and Justin battle in the end was pretty damn difficult, even on the safety difficulty. I beat it. I beat them both. But it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of crafting personas. You need to craft, you just need to craft personas that repel attacks. Just craft personas that exclusively repel attacks. Then you should be, by the time you have them, you should be good. Yeah, all your party members are getting knocked out, but you beat them in no time. It requires a lot of work, so basically. Add more minor events in between of larger ones to improve the pacing of the game. The game is already way too slow to begin with, so adding more events at the top of it only makes the pacing a lot worse. So unless you give me examples on that. Better and more varied S-links. Not every female character should be dateable, and not all the problems should be solved by main character. I fundamentally disagree. I fundamentally disagree. I fundamentally disagree. More interactive dates. For example, the player could take their date to batting cages, and win a prize for them based on their score. Would have been interesting, but I want to see how they implement this sort of concept. So, Sai is not dateable. Well, Sai is a freaking automatic social link, so of course she's not dateable. Rework the S-link points. Your choices should affect the nature of the relationship instead of how many points. God damn it. Zoom. Oh, goddamn. I'm going right back to the first one. Your choices should affect the nature of the relationship instead of how many points you get towards a linear progression. I don't think a non-linear social link would work. Like, the only non-linear aspect in the social link is whether or not you romance a character. That's it. The rest of the social link just... It's very linear, progressive, linear, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. If it's linear, totally fine. Great. It's perfectly fine, as long as the writing is good. Like, just because it's not linear, linear doesn't necessarily mean that it's not good. So what else do we have here? More in-depth side quests akin to the ones with Elizabeth and Fyodor. Yeah, I think I remember. I remember, but I just don't... Yeah, I remember that element in Persona 3. I just don't think that... Should we bring back the freaking side quest system from Persona 3 where you rescue a couple people? You go to freaking the Velvet Room and ask Elizabeth, hey, here's a weapon that you need to acquire. A lot of the quests are fetch quests, and if it's not fetch quests, it's rescue missions. I just personally, I don't know about you, I just find Persona 3's fetch quest tiresome. Every level of the S-Link should unlock something meaningful. You don't need 10 relationship stages if only 5 of them grant upgrades. So, in other words, more upgrades for every level of S-Link. No. That's not gonna happen. Bring back the ability for the confidant to break the S-Link depending on your actions, i.e. dating 2 girls at once and getting caught. Here's the thing about dating. If there's an element like this happens. For example, I date An. For example, Ren dates An. And then Ren eventually dates Makoto. And then An finds out that it doesn't work on the story because the story is under the assumption that all the characters are totally a-okay with Ren. If, for example, you add love triangle to this entire mix, then one character becomes not okay with the protagonist. And if that character is not okay with the protagonist, then that would result in a freaking snowball effect to the point where the plot could be entirely different if one character doesn't feel just as the protagonist. So yeah, a lot of compromises need to be made. And it would be nice to have the ability to have the option where one character notices, hey, you are dating this other character. But it would break the story. That's my point. But it's the thing is, like, you can still hang out with the rest of the characters and not feel like dating. Which is, by the way, as much as I really like Haru, I really do. She's great. But man, by that time where I have to say, well, I think what he meant is we're actually teammates instead of, basically the story is, well, Haru is being teased by another guy from her company, and she basically said, oh, you actually pick instead of picking that husband that we predetermined set for you, the asshole guy, you picked Ren as your boyfriend. And then Haru is like, huh? I don't actually pick him. But then Haru is like, but then after he left, Haru asked the protagonist, well, he said that I picked you. What does he mean by that? And then you can either say, I like you too, Haru, or you can say, well, he means that we are teammates and friends. So basically friend zone her. By the time you friend zone her, holy fucking shit, her face is so sad. I feel so sad for her. Like, I feel so bad for her. I feel so utterly bad for her. Like, by the time your friends are like, again, I like you, Haru. Just I'm dating Makoto right now. By the time I freaking friend zone her, it is the most depressing thing that I've seen. It's just freaking sad. But anyway, moving on. Making every day more meaningful by making all of the stat gaining activities be viable options to gain points from. I am very sure that the game already does that. You can read books to gain certain points. You can read this to get certain points. You can do that to get certain points. I'm pretty sure that the game already does that. Not sure which part you're referring to. Rework the calendar system so that each activity needs their own set amount of time, i.e. drinking coffee needs less time than studying. That's actually a very good complaint because as Yahtzee pointed out, yes, Yahtzee, while he considers Persona 5 to be his 5th best game of the year, he does make a valid point when he said that, well, craft one freaking lockpick is the same amount of, you can basically go to the red freaking district, buy a magazine, go back to the other side, and time will not pass. But then by the time you craft one freaking lockpick and then just time pass by completely, quickly. I agree. I also really hate the fact that you can only craft one lockpick at the start. You can craft 5 in the end if you max out the handiness stat, but why can't you craft 1? And then by the time you craft 1, it takes like freaking 4 hours to craft, which is fucking stupid. But do not friendzone Haru. She has a fucking grenade launcher. Indeed. More downtime. I haven't. Here's the lower one. Having the calendar show who you can hang out with on which days and have the ability to schedule plans in advance. This is actually a good idea. I actually really like this idea. Like, somebody pointed out that, well, it's a freaking simulation in real life. It's a freaking life sim, high school life simulator. So of course you're not gonna have calendar. But if it's a freaking high school simulator, then you should have the ability to check on the dates, check on the calendar. Hey, this character hangs out at this character hangs out at that. Or maybe have the ability to your phone and goes to call a character. Hey, are you available at this date? Hey, are you available at this date? I want to do things with you. Hey, are you available to do this? Like the rest of the characters in Persona 4, for example, they can call you. Hey, say, hey, are you available tonight? Like, why can't you call the other characters to hang out with them? It's bizarre. Like, for example, just have the ability to say, hey, are you available at this date? Can I hang out with you? Like, it needs a little bit more organizing. And yes, and also one thing I really hate is the fact that the time where you can read books in the train is very much determined. Like, for example, you can read books at the train at this specific moment, at this specific date for some reason, but the other time you have to stand up. Maybe you can find a way to plan it out. Like, maybe come earlier in the train, or try to find, or maybe in every part of the train find a. I know it's fucking impossible, but every part of the train just need to find a seat. Right? I don't know. I'm not experienced in freaking Japanese trains, but man, making lockpicks is hard. Proceed to make one in weeks. Friends with girls is different. Anyway, where are we? Oh yeah, here. More downtime party bonding moment events outside of the main story. More events like Persona 4. Fewer events like Persona 5. I don't know what you're talking about. Please elaborate further on that. Have the calendar show which activities will give a boost on what days. Now that's not possible because, again, it's pretty much random whether or not you get to sit on the train or you have to stand up on the train. But it turns out it's actually not. It's actually, hey, this specific date, you can sit on the train. In this specific date, you cannot sit on the train. In this specific date, you get to sit on the train, which means you can actually read the books that... Can Ren read the freaking book while standing? I don't know, just a suggestion. But then again, the train is way too fast, so perhaps you have to hold his hand. Maybe you can read the books, and when you're having only one hand, maybe get the ebook version. I don't know, do anything else that is... stupid. A lot of stupid things in there, but design S-links with the idea of developing your relationship with characters even after reaching max level. So an SS link, not enough time. Like, I would love to see an idea for that. Like, I would love to see the romance grow. I would love to see what kind of issues that a character have after Ren declares, hey, I love you. I want to date you. After Ren declares that, I would love to see what's going to happen next. I would love to see the next stage in the evolution of the social link. Maybe unlock ultimate persona in that regard. I don't know. But the problem is there's not enough time. There's just not enough time. Persona 9, Persona Resurrection. Jesus Christ. No more equip direct persona. That was a stupid mechanic. I really don't like it. So yeah. More voice acting for S-links. Not gonna happen. More in-depth integration of romance akin to Persona 3 Portable. I don't particularly remember Persona 3 Portable having more romance options compared to the other Persona games. Also, I find it very disturbing in Persona 3 Portable. You can date Ken. I'm sorry, that's weird. That's fucking disturbing. That's a very fucking disturbing choice, but anyway. That ends the second part. And that ends the second part of this entire thing. So chat, what do you guys have for me? They're talking about saving Shinji in Persona 3 Portable. Oh! So just on that particular moment, not in the rest. The rest is pretty much the same. So I think when you date party member in Persona 3 Portable, you can have unique conversation in Tartarus with them. That's it. Yeah, have unique conversations in freaking Tartarus. Yeah, why can't you be more specific in your demand and say, hey, have unique dialogues when you date a certain character? Or, hey, if you date a certain character in this point, then have the story to actually acknowledge that they're dating a character. For example, when they went the trip to Hawaii, was it Hawaii? I forgot. Was it Hawaii? I think it was Hawaii. But by the time they trip to Hawaii, when Ryuji asked to Ren, hey, what kind of girl do you like? And then Ren asked, I want like the smart one. When he could have just said, bitch, I have a girlfriend. Are you fucking mad? Like, there's no option to say that, but anyway, what else we got here? What about being able to choose what you want to wear? Yeah, that's already been discussed in the previous one. And some customization would be very nice. I would love to see a customization, I would love for like in like in Trails, for example, where you can use casual outfits at school. But then again, the outfits for every character are unique in some ways, minor tweaks, but not too unique. How's Trails of Cold Steel for you, man? Trails of Cold Steel 1 was okay. One is pretty much a freaking giant trailer for the second. The second is fucking awesome. The second is, I would even dare to say that the second is perhaps one of the greatest video game sequels of all time. I'm dare to say that. The second is so good. So amazing. It is amazing. The second one is unbelievable. I can't wait for the third one. And that's the second one is where the story ends. It doesn't really end, but it ends there. That the arc for one particular story ends there. But the second one is really good. Holy shit. It is really good. The first one is basically just a big giant trailer for the second one. Hey, here are a couple of cities that you can actually visit in the next game. But still, the first one has a lot of good moments, but overall I just think it was overall alright. Then the ending pops up, then I was like, fucking, I'm hyped. Second one comes in. Excellent. Fucking excellent game. Loved it. Should I get Kingdom Come Deliverance or Trails of Cold Steel 2? Well, Trails of Cold Steel 2 has romance. Actually meaningful romance with the character and is actually voiced, and the romance actually makes sense. All of the characters, if you can't romance all the characters obviously, but all of the characters have one reasons after another in why they love the protagonist. So yeah, they want more datings of 8-year-olds. Oh fuck. Trails of Persona. I have never played Persona. Sell me on Persona 5. It is a great game. It is an excellent game. The only way for me to sell it is if you play it yourself, because I can't describe how amazing Persona 5 is. It is so great. The only way for me to sell it is if you just play it. Just play it, try it. Great game. We already had Valentine's. Yeah, just one moment at that Valentine. Sorry to go kind of off topic, but since we're on the talking of Persona, did you see the Yakuza costume announcement for Persona 5? Persona 5 Dancing Stars. Like, I haven't seen it, but well, it's just a costume. Don't make my waifu cry. Calling a character for a date sounds like something from a date sim, like Tokimeki Memorial. I mean, it's already a freaking life sim anyway, so why not freaking date sim? So, Possibility of having to maintain social link, the S-links. What after New Game Plus? I want the ability to maintain the bonuses that you have with the social links, not necessarily the social links themselves. But then again, I don't want Ryuji's freaking upgrade on the social link, which is that can go fuck itself. That can seriously go fuck itself. I think when you date party member in Persona 3... Oh, I already read that. Also, Crow is bed wife. Do you feel Trails of Cold Steel overused anime tropes compared to Trails in the Sky? I looked at Trails in the Sky. I haven't played Trails in the Sky yet, but I don't like the art style. I really hate... It reminds me so much of Clannad, and I don't like Clannad's hairstyle. Art style, because the character's eyes are so big and it just doesn't feel real authentic. Like, at least in Trails the character's eyes are small, but the character's eyes in Cold Steel, sorry, in the Sky, it's just so big. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. Did they overuse as much as anime tropes? Actually, no. Okay, there are some very little, but overall, the best way for me to describe Trails is it's like if Persona meets Spice and Wolf. If that's a weird way to describe it to me, but it's yeah, they do have high school, they have anime tropes and everything like that, but there's a lot of complex discussions about politics, taxes, economics, social the social elements inside the freaking nation, the relationships between one kingdom after another. There's a lot of very complex discussions in Trails of Cold Steel. It makes the characters intelligent, it makes the characters smart, and they are very smart, they're intelligent, they know what they're doing, and it makes the game a lot more unique. a lot better vibe on it. And so it's less about the anime tropes, which it does have, but a lot more about the discussions on the politics, the theme of the world building in Trails in general is fucking excellent. But I think we're getting side to the topic here. Persona 4 Golden had the mechanic which allowed to upgrade friends' Persona 2 times, not just one. You better not be lying about Trails 2. I'm going to the first one right now. Oh, I'm not lying. I am not lying. Like here's the thing. Trails of Cold Steel 1. I thought Trails of Cold Steel 1 was alright. Because I beat the game in chunks. I couldn't play the game for like an hour freaking straight. But Trails 2, I beat it immediately. Like immediately. I beat it like as soon as possible. I beat it. That is how engaging the game was. It is so engaging from start to finish. Anyway. Who is your favorite Persona? There's so much, but there's so much. Have you played Trails of the Sky and Crossbell? I haven't played either. I haven't played either. Would you play a Transformers Persona crossover game? Why would I? What's your favorite Persona? Not the games, the creatures. There's too much. Worst Palace, Okumura or Shido? I would say Okumura's Palace a lot. Actually, no, Shido's Palace. I really hate Shido's Palace. The fact that you have to transform to a mouse and then you have to get to the freaking vents. Very annoying, tiresome. Blech. All right. I think we should try to play Trails turned off by the voice acting. Trails of Cold Steel or Trails in the Sky. Trails of Cold Steel. I have to admit, Alisa's voice is way too high pitched in the first one. It's less annoying in the second one, but Alisa's voice in the first one is certainly way too high pitched. It's actually Toa's voice in the second one is a lot more high pitched than usual. It's very noticeable. I mean, what did you play it on? What you mean, Trails? I played it on PC. Both games. Would you say American RPGs or JRPGs have better overall quality, or are they about the same? Western RPGs have their qualities, have their strengths. They have their open world. I think the strength of a Western RPG is very much in the gameplay department. I love going into the world. Go in Skyrim, for example. It's open world. I can shoot shoot creatures with my fireballs. I can kill a bunch of creatures with swords, and like in Fallout, for example, I can shoot mutants, get the creatures, and then interact with the world. It's very open world. The Western RPGs have their strengths, and their strength is in that, creating a big sense of open world. Not saying that JRPGs can't do that, but overall, the Western RPGs have that strength. JRPGs, the strength of them are in the story. The gameplays, they're not exactly accessible for most people, but the story is definitely the one that JRPGs can sell with. Is like, obviously, Persona, it's pretty much 80% of the freaking game is the story. Like, the content of the game is the story. So, but in Western RPGs, it's quite rare for Western RPGs to actually have a really good story. You know, you have The Witcher, you have Mass Effect, you have Dragon Age, any BioWare RPGs, but can I get old CRPGs? Planescape Torment, really good story. What else? Divinity, story is engaging, characters are relatable. So yeah. When I first heard Laura's voice is pretty deep. Liara, who's Liara? Are you referring to Laura? Laura's voice is alright. The problems that I have with Trails of Cold Steel is the voice acting. Sometimes it's the full voice acting. Yeah, that is actually a good critique. Sometimes it goes full voice acting, but sometimes it's not. That can be very distracting. Especially, so, yeah, it's fucking stupid. Okay, I know it sounds stupid, but I had once an idea. Persona mixed with cosmic Lovecraftian horror where main racer seems insignificant on the scene of the events. It's called Shin Megami Tensei. It's exactly as you described. It's very much Shin Megami Tensei. Or maybe Have you played? Has anyone played Devil Survivor? Maybe it is kind of like that, or maybe what was the game? Not exactly Persona. It's not exactly turn-based. It's more of a hack and slash. But the other games from Neon Falcom, Tokyo Xanadu X Plus. Overall, it was. I'm not too impressed with the game, but overall, it's an alright experience. Quite engaging. Just not as great as I expected it to be. Not as great as, you know, the other Neon Falcon games. But maybe Tokyo Xanadu is for your end. So have you seen Cold Steel 3 trailer? You should. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, the Arrow Girl. The Arrow Girl is Alisa. Alisa, not Liara. The Arrow Girl is Alisa. Do you watch Red vs. Blue, and are you excited for Season 16? No, I don't watch them. Dark Souls is a better Western RPG than any Western RPG. Oh. Anyway, so I think that's enough for the chat. We're gonna need to... Laura is voiced by Matthew Mercer's wife. God damn! God fucking damn! That's why she's best girl. Anyway. Let's get to the next one. Next complaints here. Combat, battle systems, and fusions. Now, these are a lot more minor compared to the other ones, but actually, I need to resize the screen for a bit here. It's evident you guys can read it. It's a bit too small. I'm gonna enlarge it here. Okay, that should be good. Now, let's get to the complaints here. Change the current format of MC Deft equals game over. Let us continue to fight as other team members and revive main character. Upon defeat, maybe instead of sending players to the last safe room, it would be a lot less frustrating if they were sent to the beginning of the current floor. This is why you play in the safety difficulty, fam. I'm just saying. just fucking saying. all that JRPG complex management and tactic stuff, just yeah, put that aside. Just mindlessly press the auto button. Might as well. Press the start button. Start button just solves your problem immediately. Just randomly smash people. Except when they reflect physical in like Rangda or Girimekala. Which is odd. Like why are the Hindu deities the ones that reflect physical? That's weird. Even Barong reflects physical. That's freaking weird. Streamline the fusion process. Velvet Room is great, but players shouldn't be spending 30 minutes at a time in there. I actually do not mind spending 30 minutes in Velvet Room. I actually spend a lot of time in Velvet Room fusing personas because fusing personas is fun. It's fun. I'm sorry. It's fun fusing personas, trying to find out who they really are, trying to find out, oh, this persona's design is like this. Oh, this is the persona that I get. Oh, I get these skills for persona. Oh, I get these. I'm going to mix and match this. I'm sorry. It's fun. I'm sorry. In the Velvet Room is freaking fun. It's freaking fun in and of itself. Fusing, matching personas, it's fucking fun. The Velvet Room music is also pretty good, so... Rebalance the harder difficulties. Earning less money while increasing the cost of compendium just adds needless grind to the game instead of making it challenging. Now this I actually agree, which is why, again, I've said it many times, play in the fucking safety difficulty. I know it sounds like a fucking pleb, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry if the game's way of balancing the entire thing is raise the price but also lower the money that you gain. It's unbalanced. I'm sorry, an easy game is much better than an unbalanced game. Just saying. but that is under the assumption that an unbalanced game cannot be easy game. Unbalanced, okay, an unbalanced game that is hard is much better than an easy game is much better than an unbalanced game that is leaning on the hard side. Unbalanced easy is much better than unbalanced hard, my opinion, but add more elements to the game and keep the combat deep, fresh, and interesting. Stuff like physical attacks for being categorized like slash, strike, pierce. I don't like that idea from Persona 3. I am sorry, I don't like that idea at all in Persona 3. Just adding new, because I hate the fact that restricts the character. How can a sword not pierce? How can a sword not slash? How can a sword not strike? It's bizarre. It's weird. And elements such as water / earth from Persona 2, I'm I personally don't really like the combat system in Persona 2 in general. It's a lot more tactical for certain. It is a lot more tactical compared to the other Persona games. I'm not sure if it's downgraded from Persona 1, but compared to Persona 3, 4, 5, 2 is very tactical. A lot of options. You can even see, as far as I can remember, you can even see whose the next turn will be. You can even but there's a lot of management in Persona 2, a lot more complexity. So keeping the combat streamlined, like the entire purpose of Persona is a more mainstream appeal, on a more popular mainstream appeal, which works in every game. It works in every game ever since the third one. It's a lot more mainstream now. So making the combat a lot more complicating, I'll leave that to Shin Megami Tensei, okay? Just an option to have enemies scale with you. When you play New Game Plus, the enemies basically are just... that needs to be more specific. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Give party members skills that the protagonist cannot use. Like what? Like what? Like what? Name me one example, please. Give us the ability to manually select one or all valid skills or inheritance when fusing. Yes, this. I actually agree with this one. I really hate the fact that here, how you do it. I need to explain this. So when you want to get a specific skill from a persona, you have to, in Nocturne, or in Persona 4, in Persona 3, and in Nocturne, you have to either exit Velvet Room and then coming back to Velvet Room, or you select the first persona to fusion, select the second one, and then by the time you get and then check whether or not you get the skills that you want to inherit. But unfortunately, there are a lot of times you don't get the skills that you want. But if you keep doing that, you're gonna get it anyway. So that's why Persona 5 just cuts out the middleman and just say, hey, here are a couple of skills. Here are the skills that you want. You can select which one that you want to inherit. I think that's much better. I think that is much better. Until Persona 5 ruined it by decided to have this enhance a certain persona by sacrificing another persona. That one is randomized. So if you want to get a certain skill, for example, I want to get Sukukaja from one persona, but unfortunately this other persona does not have the ability to get Sukukaja or any skill perhaps. It's on max level. So I try to get to Sukukaja, but I end up getting other skills. I have to keep doing it, repeating it all over again until I finally get Sukukaja. And it's tiresome. It's repetitive. It's exhausting. Cuts out the middleman. Just said screw it. Have the option to, hey, you want to strand a persona. What kind of skill you want to inherit? Simple as that. Because we're going to get it anyway if we keep on doing it. So might as well cut the middleman. Just add harder difficulties that keep the game still challenging even after getting ultimate personas. Yeah, I don't mind that. Add buffs and debuffs that affect more than just raw stats. Not too familiar with that. I don't do buffs. The buffs are not as significant as they are in Nocturne, because in the buffs in Nocturne, at least they apply to all characters. Like you apply speed buffs, it applies to all characters, all demons, technically speaking. Buffs set those elements to the point a character can specialize in them and still be good against bosses and regular enemies. Optional combat challenges areas like Monad in Persona 3. I don't mind optional combat challenges. Like, why not? Bring back Persona 3 spell fusions. I don't do that as much, so I'm not really too familiar with that. Put fusion calculators in the game. If you see the monsters or have the components on you to fuse it, you have to have it show up on the recipe book, something like an improved version of the system in SMT4. Not too familiar with SMT4, so I'm not really sure what they're talking about here. Show the exact turn order in the side or the bottom of the screen. This is a good complaint. This is a very good critique because every JRPG has this, so why not Persona? Even Persona 2 has this. Add abilities that give you a chance to delay enemy turns. Sorry, but Persona is not Trails. Not a freaking chance. Persona is not Trails. Persona is not Trails. Persona is not Trails. Add a skill affinity trait akin to SMT for Apocalypse. And those are it. Those are all the complaints from Reset Era's community feedback on improving Persona, the Persona series. Now, overall, I'm just gonna get you guys in. If you guys stick from the first all the way to the here, all the way to the big right here, I commend you for sticking out. Thank you so much for sticking in. And what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this entire thing before I actually get to mine? So, all right. Gotta get to the chat here before I actually get to it. So the skill choice selection from Fusion is SMT for Apocalypse. Yeah, it's sort of like that. Persona 5 already had those. Yes, it has the skill select option, except when you try to strengthen a persona by sacrificing another persona. That doesn't happen. It's still randomized, so that's pretty freaking stupid. A sword cannot strike unless you do mortal strike. Also, depending on what sword do you have it, it can slash or strike to a different degree, some being unable to do one or another. Well, they should have the ability to. I mean, they mean enemy skill and level with you like Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not too familiar with Final Fantasy VIII, so Persona 4 Goldling have unique skills for the members. Golden have I think adding more elements to Persona 5 would be unnecessarily too much. Want to hear something enraging? Persona 3 isn't great and 4 and 5 is better. I would say Persona 3 is overall, like, I don't hate it. It's not enraging. I just personally didn't think of it as much. Didn't think of it as that great overall. The intro was very rocky. Some of the story executions I really didn't like. The characters are not as engaging. They are pretty fun. They're pretty interesting, but they're not as engaging. In a lot of ways, I think there are way too many characters, actually, in Persona 3. But, spending 2 hours in the Velvet Room is great. Absolutely. I see a mention of enemy scaling. Final Fantasy does that, and it sucks. It's more a matter of punishing for you for not playing a low-level game. Well, there you go. There you go. Odd question, but what's your favorite video game soundtrack? That's actually a very difficult question because there are so many video game soundtracks that I really love. But one that I frequently listen to the most is obviously the Persona series. That's one. The Trails soundtrack is really good. And the other one is the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 soundtrack is fucking excellent. Holy shit, it's really good soundtrack. But back then I used to listen to a lot of Deus Ex soundtracks. The Deus Ex soundtracks are pretty damn awesome. Very nostalgic. Also, the Elder Scrolls soundtracks are pretty damn good. There's a lot of really good soundtracks for video games. So, have you played how do you pronounce the YS games? How do you pronounce it? Is it YS or is it yes games? 8 was fantastic. Well, I don't really know. I haven't played it. Here's something strange. I like the Persona 3 cast only in Persona Q. Yeast. Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Yeast. Weird. Cold Steel soundtracks are OP as hell. OP? How is a soundtrack overpowered? How can a soundtrack be overpowered? That's weird. Okay. Honestly, expected much worse from Reset Era. Like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. There are some legitimate complaints that I actually agree. But overall, it's if I would say myself, not exactly the worst complaints imaginable. I didn't expect it's not exactly as cringy, but there are some complaints that just doesn't work, in my opinion. So anyway, he forgot adding futas. I'm requesting for a friend. I think that some of their critiques are valid, but to me, mostly it seems like they want the game to be easier. Pretty much late into this, but the only JRPG I know that lets you change the team members on dungeons is the Neptunia series or any Compile Heart game. You can pretty much do that in Trails as well. So there's that. Question, was that article a compilation of random people's complaints? Or is it original thought from the author? And don't we have card system to get specific skills on a persona? There are skills that you cannot get from a card. Like, I love that freaking skill that replenishes. I forgot. It's from Setanail. Was it from Setanail? I forgot. It was basically a skill that replenishes your MP your SP right after you beat an enemy, which is fucking amazing. Some hits, some misses, all around a mixed bag. What anime is the poster girl in the glasses, red shirt, and blue striped on your left? It is Ine-chan. Ine-chan. Just Google it, Ine-chan. It basically stands for Internet Negative Chan. It is the antithesis to Indonesia's Internet Positive Chan, Ipo-chan. It's basically the negative version of the censorship that is done by Internet Positive from Indonesia. So there's that. Yeah, Victory Cry. That's what I'm talking about. That is so OP as fuck. I decided to just fuse persona, any persona that can inherit that fucking skill. I want to fucking, if it's possible, fuse Pixie with a Victory Cry. I don't know if it's possible, but Victory Cry is fucking insane. I loved it. The stream cutting out is too OP. Did the twist in Cold Steel get you? I did. It is quite surprising. It is very... It makes the game from a standard... I think it's alright. It's a standard JRPG overall. It turns the game to holy fucking shit, this is really good. The Metal Gear soundtrack makes everything epic. It's pronounced ease, like an ease. All right, ease. Nier Automata soundtrack is also really good. Who have the better villains, Persona 3, 4, or 5? Again, in my personal opinion, I like the idea. While they're not exactly the villains, I like the idea that you are the villain in Persona 4. They contribute much better villains than, Persona 5, where hey, these guys who are cartoonishly evil, but you as the villain is actually... You is also the main character. You Narukami is also the main character for Persona 4. But I like the idea of yourself being the villain in Persona 4. They're not the main villains, obviously, but the main villain is the other guy. I'm pretty sure you all know who he is, but I like that idea. It's much better. It's much better executed. So, also, what is your position on Neptunia compile hard JRPGs? Because nearly anyone I know has it as a black sheep of the genre. Ignoring the PS3 games, those are objectively bad. I have all 3 Neptunia games, but I have only played the first one very briefly. And from what I played, I don't think I'm going to like it. From what I played, I don't think I am going to like it, if I have to be 100% honest. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth lets you change members mid-battle too. Well, there you go. Adachi did nothing wrong. Oh, the Adachi defenders. I really like this Adachi defenders. Oh, by the way, final note. I forgot to read the final note. Very final note from Reset Era. I'm just gonna crop this out and enlarge this so that you guys can see it. This is the final note from them, and I think this is a very good final note before we actually end the stream. Please note, the goal of this feedback, the entire feedback, is not to dictate to Atlas how to make a Persona game. This feedback is intended to let Atlas know what we like and dislike, and what would we like to see more of. Thanks for reading. Well, there you go. It's not exactly them trying to say, hey, Atlas, you should make this. This is how you should make it. But hey, my personal thoughts, my personal opinion. I appreciate that you are sharing this opinion in a very respectful manner, in a manner that is doesn't block people from discussions. But then again, this is like, if you look at Reset Era from this, the best vision that you can say is, well, I guess they're okay. They have some opinions that I disagree with, but then you actually get to the forums and then you find out that they censor everybody. So you're gonna need to work on your PR. You're gonna need to work on winning people's trust more, Reset Era. But yeah. Persona 3 has the best villains. I fundamentally disagree. I played 2 Neptunia. I didn't finish either. I cannot find the name of the pig. Ine-chan. 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 Very easy. I-N-E-C-H-A-N. I-N-E-C-H-A-N. Ine-chan. I just realized Nier Automata is the first black sheep of a series for being an actually good game. Well, I don't know about the Drakengard series, but or the first Nier. I haven't seen the first Nier. I haven't played the first Nier yet, so anyway, I think since we're done with the complaints, I can't believe that makes the 1 hour 40-minute stream. Very good discussions to have. You guys have been absolutely great on this entire thing, so I think this is a very good time to wrap things up. It is 1 p.m. guys, and I think you guys absolutely need a very good sleep. So yeah, hope you guys are having a good sleep. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in the stream. It is an absolutely great stream with you guys. I know it's very late, but there are quite a lot of viewers in here, so that's pretty good. And thank you so much for the donations, by the way. The donations are greatly appreciated. I did not expect to have donations, but still, it is absolutely great. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting this. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for joining in the stream. Take care. Have a good night.